Greetings, everyone. It's editorial time. My name is Russ Hatfield, and my twin soul is Kara, who is a high-dimensional member of Ashtar Command and ambassador to Sirius. The January editorial is about something we are very familiar with: the evolution of home entertainment through television from the black and white TVs of the 50s and 60s to the high-definition flat screens with AI. To say it has had a profound effect on the human civilization would be an understatement. We basically present a timeline of the television in this editorial we call From Shades of Grey. You can follow a transcript of this latest editorial at our homepage, hiddspacenews.com. We invite you to subscribe and be kept informed of future postings on the YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. And now we present From Shades of Grey. The collective consciousness of the human race runs in parallel, it seems, to the evolution of media. By the early 1950s, a television set was now in a majority of homes, taking what had been an audio experience up until then, as the radio brought families around it to listen in rapt attention, into a visual one. Television was a whole new experience, and with it came the cultural changes inevitable with mass visual media. Big cities were replacing rural living, and social issues in society became news of the day. A war in a foreign country and segregation now brought into focus the rights of people to protest and be allowed equal status in society. These were rights that were fought for and granted. Large families were no longer the norm, leading to the birth of the nuclear family. The TV was still in black and white, but not so the human race. A world full of color was emerging in both fashion and pigmentation. The prospect of change swept over a youth culture, just now discovering it no longer had to be silent and not heard. The 60s brought color TV into the mainstream, and with it, new programming reflecting the changing culture as the world acknowledged what was becoming a youth movement. Television evolved with shows like Lawrence Welk up against Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, while the schism between generations could also be seen on the nightly news. The Vietnam War was front and center, along with the protests against it continuing. It was an era marked by groundbreaking music and art, as well as Kent State and Woodstock. It was at this time when people like Timothy Leary turned on teenagers who discovered that expanding the mind allowed for new concepts to enter the collective consciousness of the planet. Television had shows about aliens, both good and bad, appearing, but nothing compared to the new TV series debuted in 1966 from Gene Roddenberry called Star Trek. This was a paradigm-shifting event that led to a whole new understanding of worlds and races beyond our own. Since then, box TVs have evolved into flat-screen TVs, while what was once 3 channels that went off the air at midnight has turned into hundreds of channels of content running 24 hours a day. The evolution was enhanced with the introduction of the personal computer, and the two have been married at the hip ever since. It was the information age, and suddenly the world had libraries of information ready at hand. Groups of higher dimensional beings like Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federation were now being taken seriously by a small minority that was growing rapidly. Sightings of UFOs were on the increase, with no information on them coming from the government. Channeling sessions with the members of those groups gave the world knowledge from actual beings of other races available to those looking for it. That search, though, by the individual had to be initiated despite the distractions offered by television, streaming, and social media. With a lifetime's worth of information being distributed daily, it's never been harder to find time to increase one's consciousness. So what does the future hold? Well, we are seeing glimpses of the future with the introduction of artificial intelligence. AI has already blurred the lines between reality and created reality. Look for it to become a driving force in almost every aspect of life, especially when it comes to entertainment. Flat screens may evolve into projected screens from a soundbar that is part of an integrated entertainment session. Hyper-realistic imaging paired with generative AI could create worlds similar to what was seen in the movie Ready Player One. What was only distractions before now become potential lives led in a virtual world for large parts of the day. Whether or not it's a coordinated effort to interfere with mankind's ascension path is irrelevant, as it's just one more lesson needed to be learned before moving on to a higher dimension. Every age has similar ways of keeping a population in the dark about dimensions higher than the third, and it's an individual's choices that determine how one's time is spent. That's the curse and the gift of too much information. One can study knowledge provided by those who have already ascended, or entertainment from those who are still in the third. In love, light, and wisdom as one, Russ and Kara.